Content warning, y'all. We have lots of fun making this podcast, but remember, we watch a lot of R-rated films, use language that reflects that, and joke about heavy topics to create levity around these themes. If that doesn't feel safe or could be triggering, please take care of yourself. We want you to have fun listening too. This also means we might not be suitable for children. Oh yeah, and we spoil the end of all the movies we pod about. Thanks for listening.
You're not on. Well, I can't hear you.
What? I swear I was on. I thought you would have figured that out during the pre-process.
Yeah, I should have. What are you going to do? You just sound like a creaky door.
A really horrible impression of a TIE fighter.
More like a retired fighter. Fire! Damn it. Damn it. There goes all my credit.
What are you
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. Hello. You're on the air. We're listening. Good night, Seattle. We love you. Today we're talking about
To Die For.
1995.
Yeah. I thought it was later than that. I was surprised. I was expecting it to be like 98.
I would have guessed it was earlier, just based on
I guess
my memory of...
I was assuming it was later based on when I saw it, I think.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I had not seen this. You had.
I had.
You suggested it?
Yes. Yes, I suggested it because I hadn't seen it for a really long time, and I really didn't remember most of anything that happened, which is always really exciting for movies, but I knew that I liked it.
Yeah.
Like, I knew that I liked the movie enough. And I was like, I don't remember anything. Like, when the end happened, I was like, I have no recollection of any of this. And it's, I don't know, that was just really exciting to me. Plus, as I started to remember, like, little bits and pieces about it, I loved, like, the, like, aesthetics of her character a lot. How it was, like, a very specific look that she had, and it always really, really struck me, even as, like, a teenager. Yeah. Also, it has Allison Folland, I don't know, in it, who plays the teenage girl.
Oh.
And she was also in this movie from, like, a couple years later. I think it was, like, 97, called All Over Me.
Okay.
And Allison Folland was basically the person that got cast in the 90s in, like, more indie films to play, like, the closeted lesbian. And All Over Me is a movie. That's a movie I would love to do for the pod. But it's, like, I don't even know how to get a hold of it. Like, it's, yeah, it's, like, not available at all. Like, not even to purchase. It's, like, you can get, like, you can buy, like, I, like, tried to look for it on, like, eBay, and there's, like, a VHS for, like, $90.
Oh, Christ.
Yeah. So.
It's one of those.
Yeah. I'm like, ugh.
That's what,
But it was, like, playing, this is the thing that's crazy to me. I mean, it was playing all the time on like HBO or whatever, or
IFC probably.
No, it was like one of like this like my sister had like cable, and I think it was like the 90s. And I'm not saying IFC didn't come out in the 90s, but like it wasn't really something that you just got like.
It wasn't like
it wasn't
basic cable.
Right, yeah. Basic bitch cable. Anyway, I just had
we were talking about Bravo the other day.
Yeah.
Cheers to Bravo. So yeah,
RHO baby.
You RHO.
Real Housewives.
Oh.
Of, and then insert a city.
Gotcha. It's like CSI.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember it being like sort of all over the place and seeing it in like rental stores or something. Mm-hmm. I remember the cover image of her.
Which is interesting because I was looking at the cover.
You brought it up and I'm like, what is that movie? And then I saw it and I'm like,
well, the weird thing about the cover image
forgot about it. Yeah.
is that it doesn't actually like represent any of the aesthetics in the film whatsoever. And it's very
dark and
weird.
Right? And kind of just blue and
it's just like,
what the fuck?
I have no idea. But To Die For and All Over Me, both of those, like, Allison Folland basically plays, almost the same character in both of them. And All Over Me, she's, like, the main character, and she's pretty much, like, she's not portrayed as, like, a fucking idiot or whatever.
Right.
But I would watch those two movies, like, anytime they were on. I would watch All Over Me and To Die For. Like, I would watch them. Like, they would come on cable and I would watch. So they were, like, very interchangeable to me. Not in the sense of, like, they were the same movie, but it's, like, murder. There's, like, a death, and there's... I think All Over Me also has Wilson Cruz in it.
I totally blanked when you said his name.
I could tell by the look on your face. You were just like, I won't react so that it doesn't give away that I don't know who that person is.
Like Kevin Hart in that clip with...
I'm sorry. Anyway, sorry. You were saying, like, the cover of it is...
We're saying.
I were saying.
No, all I was trying to... The only reason I brought that up is because it felt like it was everywhere. And then I didn't realize until you mentioned it weeks ago that I had completely forgot about it.
Yeah.
And then I saw that image and I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's one of those.
God, remember going to Blockbuster, though? And, like, God, the covers...
The worst part was when they didn't have the actual sleeves. So you're just like, what? I got to read the...
Or, those were fine because I enjoyed that because I discovered some fun films that way. When they didn't have, like...
And you just had to go on.
Yeah, you're just reading something about it. I always hated when you would see the film that you really wanted and you would see the video and you'd pick it up and nothing was behind it. And you're like, son of a bitch. So enraging. But yeah, when there was like you would have like the wall of like main
new releases.
Yeah. And there would be like multiple covers.
Yeah.
And then
it would be like multiple rows of the same.
And then you would have all the movies in the middle that were like old, and then you would try. Oh man, God, there's something so like nostalgic about Blockbuster, like looking for a VHS to rent in Blockbuster. Specifically, like even when they switched over to like DVDs, like sometimes like there would only be VHS available in some movies, and then oh man, there's something.
God, I don't know. I doubt that I went into a Blockbuster since DVDs.
Yeah. I always felt
bad at that point neither a VCR or a DVD player.
Because there was like Rentertainment here. I never went in there.
Oh yeah,
like everyone talked about how amazing it was.
Oh, yes. Wasn't it gone by the time we moved here?
No. It closed out. I never went to it, and
Where was it?
What?
Where was it?
I don't know. I think I'm not sure exactly because I never went to it, so I don't know. But I had never gone to it living in like the first few years I'd lived here, and then it was closing down. And my ex-girlfriend was, while I was like not recovering, like I was about to have like oral surgery, and I was like in a lot of pain and just kind of like stuck without anything to do. She took the person that she was soon to leave me for in a matter of days to Rentertainment to go through all of their things the week that they were closing or whatever. And
were they
and
selling
she's
off?
like, I picked some stuff up, and I was like, why didn't you take me? And she was like, I don't want to deal with your jealousy. And I'm like, I'm jealous that you went there without me. I'm not jealous that you took her. I'm jealous that you didn't tell me till you were done that you did something I would have liked to have been a part of.
Yeah.
She was like, you need to just rest. I was like,
I got a couple.
that was fun. So I have like resentment towards it in a weird way. Like people talk about it and I'm like, yeah, well, fuck you. I never got to go there.
Wasn't there a deal? They had some deal where like you paid a certain amount a month and you could get a certain amount of rentals or like unlimited rentals or something.
I think most rental places did that. I don't say that as like that's normal. I just mean like as things started to wane, like once
past peak.
Yeah, like
VHS.
once people stopped going to video, they were like, "We'll do anything. What do you want? What do you want? You can pay $5 a month, and then you can get any 20 videos. What do you want? What do you want? Keep coming in, please, please, please."
At time of recording, we're only a week away from Andrew Cuomo standing down.
Oh fuck!
Thanks to all the hard work of people eating pizza with a fork. Thanks, guys. Directed by Gus van Sant, based on a novel by I shouldn't have said it because I don't know the person's name, but
it's based on a novel.
Well, I'm looking that up. You say everybody who's in it because it's a lot of people.
Oh God, everyone. I don't. It's Nicole Kidman, Matt Dillon, Joaquin Phoenix,
Joyce Maynard.
Is the novelist.
Is the novelist.
Right on.
Screenwriter Buck Henry.
Yeah, he's in it too, right?
Yeah, he plays the teacher.
He was great. He was fucking.
Yeah.
I love
the scene where he's.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was pretty good.
The scene where he's physically abusing Russell.
I mean,
Casey Affleck.
I wrote down the amount of times Casey Affleck gets hit in this movie is enjoyable.
Yeah.
Just because he's a piece of shit, so
yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
Apparently, well, I'll wait.
He's the reason why Good Will Hunting got made, because he was in this, and then he gave the
and also Ben and Matt Damon auditioned for the same role, and Casey got picked
because he's scrappier. I mean, it's true. He does look like a wet rat who sexually harasses women any chance it gets. So you got that right.
He's not. That's not really a distinguishing him from the rest of, his brother, I guess.
The rest of his brother. Oh my God.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Ileana Douglas.
Yeah.
I think I said Joaquin Phoenix.
Did you? I'm sorry. You might have.
Allison Folland or Folland.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say her name. Dan Hedaya. Fuck. We did this. Okay.
Well, we can never know. Holland Taylor. Maria Tucci.
Okay. And Kurtwood Smith.
Oh yeah.
Right? That's his name?
Yep.
It just doesn't fit. Kurtwood Smith just doesn't.
It's top heavy.
Yeah. And yeah, Buck Henry, you said that already.
Oh, Wayne Knight?
Yes, Wayne Knight is in this.
Fucking
that guy, I don't remember what his name is. He plays Tony, or whatever in everything.
Oh, Michael Rispoli.
Yeah.
Pod favorite.
Yeah.
I decided. Because he's in
everything from the 90s. Yeah.
And always playing a Tony.
Yeah.
He was a cop in this one.
Yeah, a detective.
Who played? I felt
don't
like the
know.
guy who was like the lead detective that we kept seeing with the glasses.
Yeah.
Was somebody I should recognize, and then
He's someone that's like been in movies, but he's playing like the same character where he's just like in the background, like looking at stuff. I think he's really attractive, and I don't know
yeah.
why. Probably because he has pouty lips.
But he's like his role is like the role of the detective in Big Little Lies.
Literally,
Pretty much.
100%. Yeah, where he's just like
A presence.
all
Occasionally.
like holding a cigarette and like not lighting it and then putting it in his pocket.
Right. That's his
lighting a lighter and then looking at a cigarette and then putting each in opposite pockets. Can't have it accidentally light itself in my pocket. There's no smoking in this building. God. Ileana Douglas is great. I love Ileana Douglas. I think she's awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like her character, I don't know if it's correct, but I feel like they hint that her character is kind of queer.
Oh.
Because there's a scene where she's like having a discussion and she looks over to the bathroom and there's a girl in the bathroom washing her hair. And there's like no context for that whatsoever.
Yes,
it's just like she's just washing her hair. Plus, when she's telling her brother about chicks that are interested in him, she's like describing them like she's like, she's really hot.
Oh, remember how there's also the character of Suzanne's sister?
Oh, right, I know, who like just sits there.
Yeah.
And says like her veil was the veil that Maria Shriver wore.
Oh, yeah, right.
And that's her only line.
Well, and that a wild side. And then all that actors, all their IMDb photos on IMDb look like a certain someone we like to make fun of. That's all I'm gonna say.
Don't say anymore.
I wouldn't even know how.
Well, that's fair.
So this is based on a novel and the novel's based on true facts
of the story of Pamela Smart, who slept with
a
15-year-old kid and convinced them to kill her husband. So that's basically the plot of this movie. I think Pamela Smart, I was like trying to read about her, and I think she was a teacher or something. Oh. Or she worked for the school, because it said like the cops came to her.
Kayla Turner?
Yeah, it said like the cops came to her school to pick her up, and like I was like, okay, I'm assuming that means because she was like at I don't know, like she was at a work meeting when her husband was murdered, so I was assuming that school didn't mean college because usually people.
Oh, I see.
You know. Anyway, whatever.
People don't work at colleges.
I just mean, like, that would give her access to teenagers, if she's,
right.
There's, like, a lot of things. Anyway, whatever. And in the movie, the Suzanne character, who is based on Pamela Smart, is she's an aspiring, like, news anchor, reporter, whatever.
Yeah.
And
journalist.
Yeah. So she basically it's interesting because I think, like the plot of the movie is basically that she has like very high aspirations. She wants to, be a famous,
She wants to be on TV.
Yeah. She wants to be on TV, but she wants to be like, not just like, she doesn't want to be an actor. She wants to be a reporter. And she's like kind of looking for ways to make that happen however she can. And she marries Matt Dillon.
Pen over there?
Do I have a pen over there?
Yeah.
No. Okay. Sorry, I'm like, I ate a giant hummus bagel before we started, so I'm just like reaping the benefits of that.
I think the listeners are reaping the benefits. You're sowing.
It was delicious. It was garlic hummus that Keith made, and it had little cherry tomatoes on it. Like I diced up or sliced up some cherry tomatoes, and I put them on top, and then I add a little bit of salt and pepper.
Shout out
to bring
to
up.
Sola Gracia
Yes.
Farms.
And then
and Ellen for the.
Yes, thank you, y'all. And I put that on a little toasted everything bagel.
Shout out to Thomas's.
It was delicious. But yeah, so she's got aspirations to be like a famous like news reporter or whatever the fuck. And she gets a job at like a very, very small local station.
George Siegel or Seagal.
Yes.
I don't know how his name is. I've never
Seagal,
known.
I think Seagal.
Spelled like Katie and Stephen, so I guess.
So.
But, yeah, anyway, sorry.
So she is working. She starts doing the weather at like a very small local station.
Well, we need to.
Well, I'm just giving a short synopsis.
I know. I was going to back up to say that she marries Matt Dillon from their small town.
Right.
And then also everything's told, well, a lot of it's told through the framing of her and her husband's parents on a talk show.
Yeah.
We never see the host. Right?
Yeah. No.
I think that's true.
Yeah. We never see the host.
And then her own confessional tape.
Sort of. I mean, it's not really a confessional. It's an audition tape.
Yeah, I didn't mean confession as in confessing to a crime as much as, like the trope in reality shows, like.
Oh, yeah.
Like in, what's the MTV one where they live in the house?
Real World?
Yes. 2 camera, just telling your story kind of confessional is what I meant.
Yeah, but she marries Matt Dillon, who works in his family's restaurant.
Right.
And his family, like, they're Italian and they have like restaurants and they're kind of well-to-do because of their, business. And
they, early on in the film, there's this little, like, I don't know if it's something, oh yeah, it is. Kurtwood Smith says it, like, I don't know, I thought maybe you might have been connected to the mob.
Yeah. So once she starts working at this local station as the weather person, she basically just thinks that it's going to skyrocket her career, but her husband is like, I want you to quit your job.
And believe me, Suze, I am not selling short what you're doing now. I mean, the weather report stuff, which you're really good at. But let's face facts, it's probably not gonna lead to any big network offers. And this way, we could be working together in both our respective fields, doing what a family is supposed to be doing. A family, that's what I'm talking about, Suze. What do you think?
I want you to help me, like, with the restaurant business. I think I said restaurant, so.
That's how I heard it.
The restaurant business.
The restaurant. It changes into a wolf during a film. It changes into a restaurant in the full moon.
Yes. It's a wolf that changes into a restaurant.
Whoa.
So when he says that, she's been working on a side project.
Lyco-gastronomy.
She's been working as a one of her projects that she's been doing outside of the weather is I don't know why, like, it's hilarious to me because they don't explain, like, she's just trying to make like a small documentary about like local kids in high school. I'm like, enter Casey Affleck, Joaquin Phoenix, and Allison Folland. And they're
They're the only three.
Yeah,
She goes to the school and was like, "Hey, I'm doing this project. I need,
who
who wants to sign up?" And they're the only three.
Yeah, they're the only three that signs up. Casey Affleck only does it because he gets threatened by the teacher.
Oh, right.
Now, here's some advice, Russell, dear. That nice Mrs. Moretto is married to a boy whose father is a pillar of the Italian-American community. And if he knew how you had insulted his only beloved daughter-in-law, he would make a phone call, one phone call, and a man with a big knife would show up in the middle of the night and turn you into a eunuch. You know what a eunuch is, Russell? Of course you don't. But you can find it in the dictionary. If you don't know how to spell it, you can look it up under Nutless Wonders.
I like the dynamics, or I don't want to say I like the dynamics, but like I like how it portrays her relationship with them as being like weird.
Yes.
You know, it's just like,
well,
like, you know, she takes Allison with her to shop for lingerie, knowing that she's like a 15-year-old girl that's like queer, you know, and she's like trying on lingerie in front of her. So like, it's like she's testing the waters to see which one is going to be the one that she's going to use.
Interesting.
It feels like, you know, and like which one is going to be the most manipulated, kind of. Once her husband basically tells her that he wants her to quit her job, she then starts like a relationship with Joaquin Phoenix, who again is a 15-year-old kid, and tells him that her husband's beating her and he'll never let them be together. Like, she won't be able to leave him and he needs to die or whatever. And Joaquin Phoenix is like, okay, I'll kill him for you. And then,
well, Joaquin Phoenix says, anybody that hurts you doesn't deserve to live.
Yeah.
And she's like, you know, you're right.
And then it just basically, you know, eventually they, like Casey Affleck and Joaquin Phoenix, kill the husband, and then in, you know, searching for, you know, the detectives come in and they're, you know, researching it, and it's really interesting because they obviously don't find anything like she's very careful not to incriminate herself.
Yeah.
With them, she stays away from them. But then she gets basically the movie ends with her getting a job offer, and the whole thing is like the tape, the you know, the what did you call it? 2-camera kind of thing. Thing that you've been seeing throughout the film is her audition tape. And then she takes it to meet this person, and they say, "Oh, here, like, let's go for a walk while I show you something." And it's just someone that Matt Dillon's father, played by Dan Hedaya, hired to kill her, and she goes missing, and she's never found. And it's really interesting. And then,
well, you see her under the ice.
Well, you see her under the ice, yes, but no one. Yeah, it's implied that they don't find her. But what I like is, at the end, the Allison Folland is getting all of these television offers, and she's like, wow, if Suzanne knew how I was the one getting famous off of this, like, it would probably kill her. And I fucking love it. I love it so much.
Yeah, the monologue she does at the end there is really great.
Oh, love
and
it.
with the multiplying images of her.
Yeah.
While talking about, like, if everybody's on TV, then everybody's famous. And
yeah, it's so good.
And then that's a nice pin to wrap things up and comment on the... Are you right?
Yeah, my knee popped. I hope it came through.
And then the very last image is Ileana Douglas ice skating on the very ice that we've seen.
I do want to say this. I meant to say this.
Dancing on her grave, if you will.
Allison Folland is in The Happening.
Oh, right.
She hasn't been anything since 2012 or whatever.
Huh.
the year 2012.
Hope she's all right.
I know. But she was in The Happening, and her credit for that is basically just girls sitting on a bench with a hairpin.
Oh, nice.
And that's...
Like David Cronenberg in this movie.
Yeah.
Oh, pardon. Did you see trivia? Apparently Meg Ryan was slated to
Yeah. I read
be
that.
the lead.
I read that they offered her $5 million and she turned it down.
Yeah, but then there was a later one that was like she was attached and agreed, but then left.
But it said that NIcole Kidman agreed to do it. It was only
For $2 million.
$2 million, which I was like, wow.
Yeah, but I also I don't know if it was the same one, but it said that she, a la Suzanne Stone, was very gung ho about getting the.
Yeah.
I don't mean to imply that she
Did you see the
did
one?
it unethically.
Oh, yeah.
I just mean she.
Yeah, it was very. Did you see the one where it said that she got Gus Van Sant's personal number and talked to him?
For 40
and
minutes.
Gus Van Sant's name is in quotes.
I didn't notice that.
No one fucking knows what. I swear to God, IMDb trivia is just like people not understanding.
Punctuation of any.
Yeah, or what anything is. God, it's amazing. It's really.
It's really the third
I
host of this podcast.
What was it? The movie that we were watching, speaking of Meg Ryan, that we never finished.
In the Cut. Oh my God, do not watch that movie.
No.
I'm so disappointed. Jane
We did not
Campion.
finish. It was like we were halfway through and we were just like, oh God. But it was on the trivia and IMDb, it had like it does like it hides anything with spoilers or supposedly hides anything with spoilers. And so I looked at that trivia and the supposed spoilers were just like saying the screen time that each actor was nude or like not wearing clothes.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not a spoiler. That does because not a spoiler was how many fuck words were in the movie. And I'm like, that's the same difference. Like you're giving like an approximation.
I kind of get it because it reveals that they sleep together.
Right, but there was other trivia like that.
Yeah.
Like
I agree that it's not much of a spoiler.
It's not, but I mean, like
it doesn't really spoil much.
There was no ending spoiler in it, you know. Like it says that Kevin Bacon, like in a non-spoiler thing, it says Kevin Bacon is in the movie, and I'm like, but that's not even. That's not.
He's not even credited in the.
He's not credited in it, and it's supposed to be a surprise, I think, and it's so weird. Yeah. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah. I'm
just saying, IMDb trivia makes 0 sense. I'm going to look at my notes and see what I have. Oh.
Yeah. Ileana Douglas, we've seen in a few things now. I'm never going to remember her name. My apologies. But remember how she's in Cape Fear? The remake, obviously.
Oh my God. I had totally forgotten about that. I was like, Cape Fear. It took me that long to even register what the fuck.
I wrote down that she's always in a different, possibly better movie. That's what her presence always feels like in a movie to me. Like she's got such a specific. Like it made sense. It really fit in this film to me that you like most of the characters who aren't NIcole Kidman's and Joaquin Phoenix. You see, you get most of their dialogue to camera as though they're being interviewed. Mm-hmm. And that really felt right for her. That fit so perfectly because that's what she feels like when she's in a movie.
Yeah, that it's... Yeah, but it's
she's
not
just talking to you.
Yeah, but it's not...
But not in a bad way.
Yeah,
like, it doesn't take you out of it.
We said this about we were saying this about Silent Fall, how, like, Richard Dreyfuss seems like he's just acting at everyone.
Right.
And but that's not what it's like. It's like her presence is beyond. Like, it's not like... It's like she's trying to bring other people with her.
Yeah.
As opposed to trying to elevate herself.
Yeah.
She's literally like just has such a presence that she's taking you with her somewhere.
But
So
it's
like
and
the
in a way
opposite,
that
yeah.
you also get the sense that probably that's just how she is.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
She's also in an episode or two of Shrill, I think it is.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And an episode of Marin playing herself. She's just one of those people that feels like, oh yeah, I've seen you in movies forever, and
I know.
but also to me triggers a very like 80s or like late 70s.
Totally.
I
Yeah.
don't think she's really old enough for that. But
No. Yeah.
anyway, did you read that? When you see her in the cast later on, it's meant to be after she fainted after hearing.
Yeah.
But they played it up because she had like broken or sprained a thumb horsing around with Matt Dillon.
Oh shit! I didn't read that.
So she actually had to wear something, and Gus Van Sant just said, "Oh, let's do it up and
Nice.
add it to the character."
Wow. Impressive.
I love that shit. I don't know why. That's like one of my favorite things. Like, as you know, my favorite is the kid eating shit in.
While you were sleeping.
Yeah.
So good.
Or like the car not starting in Uncle Buck.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No,
I love when real shit goes wrong and they leave it in a movie.
No, it's great.
Especially if it's like when it's like minor injuries.
Yeah. I had forgotten, but at the funeral for Matt Dillon's character,
Yes.
when she has her dog with her, and
Walter.
she just puts a stereo on his gravestone and just starts playing all by myself at his funeral instead of like saying anything, and it's so fucking funny.
And
to
he just
me.
stands there.
And everyone's just like not happy
I
about
love
it.
I love
Oh,
the
God.
look on the priest's face.
God.
Being very diplomatic, but I'm sure I missed some, but there are so many names referenced of famous people, particularly like famous journalists or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Partial list: Barbara Walters,
Mm-hmm.
Jane Pauley,
Mm-hmm.
Maria Shriver,
Mm-hmm.
Edward R. Murrow, Walter Cronkite, whom the dog is named after.
Oh.
Connie Chung and Maury Povich,
Mm-hmm.
Sally Jesse Raphael,
Mm-hmm.
dated,
Mm-hmm.
Geraldo.
Mm-hmm.
Those are just all the journalists
Mm-hmm.
that I caught. There's also James Dean is referenced, Peggy Lipton, Jerry Vale. So, I've lost you.
No, I'm just trying to think if I can remember any of them that you didn't list.
Oh.
Oh.
I really appreciated the very obviously intentional use of when pop songs are used.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's not only pop songs, because it's this Star Spangled Banner plays
Yeah.
as she's
Yeah.
coming out to meet the press right after the murder.
Yeah.
When everybody shows up.
Yeah.
And she's presumably just learned
Yeah.
of his death.
Yeah.
That's pretty great. Sweet Home Alabama,
Oh man. Yeah.
when it's right after the aforementioned scene
Yes.
with Joaquin where he's like, "You're right, he should die."
And she's like, "Oh my god, I love this
I
song."
fucking love this song. And it's Sweet Home Alabama. And then All by Myself. And then in credits is Season of the Witch, which
you were really excited about.
yeah, I'm a big fan of that song, so it's
To his credit, sort of, Joaquin Phoenix is so fucking awkward in this movie. It's almost painful how awkward he is.
Yeah, this really set a thing for me about his acting I'm assuming definitely the youngest I've seen him.
Yeah, really? Have you ever seen Parenthood? Because he's in that.
Oh, is he? Yeah, I have seen that.
As like a kid. He's like a kid.
Yeah. I haven't seen him in that many things. Walk the Line, the Johnny Cash, and I watched like the first third of The Master or whatever. And I think it can work, but overall, I find disturbing about his acting is he definitely seems like he's very convincing at like being checked out or like in a different space, and that you know that
he seems real methody.
Maybe I don't know. Yeah. I don't know any.
I wrote
off
down
camera antics or anything.
He's a good actor, obviously, but he like dials it up to 14.
14,
right?
Not just 11,
right? That's what I'm saying. Like it's so like sometimes it's so overdone,
he just overshoots.
and it's not overacting. It's like it's literally like
intensity,
like almost It's almost like you know how someone will get so upset they'll make themselves sick.
Yeah,
and they'll just be, and you're like, wow, you have to, and it's not like it's not. I'm not saying like I'm someone with anxiety and I do make myself sick a lot, but like they'll just spiral and they have no off switch and you're like, wow, you have to learn better coping mechanisms.
It seems like
that's
it's not
what
really
his acting feels like. It feels like he's not
really in control,
pretending that he's just letting himself lose his fucking shit, and that's where I'm like, ooh,
yeah, it feels unsafe. It's a red flag if you have any kind of
right, exactly, right. And it's not that he's doing a bad job. It's just like you don't have to be uncontrollably shaking right now. Like maybe call cut and like take a minute. I don't know.
Get a glass of water or something.
Yeah, spend some time with yourself. Not upsetting yourself. It feels like that thing. Also, anytime there's like a white male actor who is like so dedicated to the craft, I'm like, I bet you're a piece of shit. Like,
yep.
I do want to say I loved the soundtrack. Like
the
score,
yeah. The Elfman.
Like the Elfman stuff, but it was like how there would be that ridiculous like metal music happening, and then suddenly it would stop.
Yes.
Like it just like
kept doing that.
Oh God, I love that shit. And it seemed almost like it was out of place just a little bit. Yeah. Oh God, I'm such a fan of that. And I feel like there's something about this movie. It's like very specifically,
I just want to say that I'm not sure. To its credit, maybe I was unclear when it was score versus when it was.
Yeah, same.
Some grindcore band.
Yeah, right.
So I don't know if that was part of Elfman's score or they are just dropping in,
yeah. Either
Napalm
way,
Death or something.
Either way, big fan.
Yeah.
But there's something about, I think one of the things, like, I think this movie held up for me. Like, I think there was like aspects of it that I did not have the ability to appreciate as like a 16-year-old kid watching this movie.
Sure.
But
which is why I'm glad I didn't see it.
Yeah. Right.
Well, I mean, whatever.
I know what you mean. There's
really dodged a bullet there.
But watching it now, like it is so. I'm such a fan of this shit. Especially in the late, like in the 80s and 90s, heavily stylized movies like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like this movie, like everything feels intentional. Like
yes,
her, like it's almost ambiguous when it's set.
Yes, right.
You don't know, like everyone, like it's like, oh, this could be the 90s. It could be the 80s.
Well, in her personal aesthetic, feels like the 60s or 70s even a lot of times.
Yeah. And like her makeup and like her eyeshadow, there's like one, like she wears There's like one where she's like has this like bright green eyeshadow. When it's the family dinner, I think it's that scene. But then once she's like doing the weather, I think she has pretty much consistently like a very purple eyeshadow, and it's so, oh, I love it. It's like pink lipstick and purple eyeshadow, and it's so bright purple, but like muted enough that it's, oh God, I don't know. There's something about it. And like her outfits are so colorful. Oh God. And that's something that I love because like, she's like the danger. She's the person who's doing all of the bad stuff. She's the person that's getting all of these, getting everyone that does anything wrong to do it in the first place. And she's the most colorful person. She's the most cheerful person. She's the most positive person in the entire movie. And she's the danger. And just like that sort of like, oh God, there's just so much about it. That
well, and her wardrobe, her appearance, you know, she's clearly meant to, it's done to set her apart from all of everything in her surroundings.
Yeah.
Everyone else. Everything else. Like, you know, whenever she's at the station with Wayne Knight and the other guy, like they're always just wearing khaki and very muted colors.
Yeah.
Matt Dillon is always wearing either like a football jersey style or a hockey jersey style shirt or fucking
just like a kind of like a sweater
kind of stuff. Pajamas.
Yeah, sometimes it's like a sweater or whatever. But
oh my God! I just remembered. I dreamed I was going through my closet looking for like a sweater, and it was all these. I used to have a fair amount of tracksuit style jackets, you know, the zipper kind.
Yeah.
And they were all there, but they were all too small for me.
Aww.
It was tragic.
That's horrible.
But I lost every one of them. Like, it wasn't like I wore them out or outgrew them. Every one of them I lost because I would wear them.
Oh, yeah.
And then take them off. And anyway, sorry about that.
Also, the scene where she's like trying on clothes in front of and she's trying on underwear.
Yeah.
Oh, I was so disgusted by that. Disgusted by that.
Yeah, what is that scenario? Period. That.
What are you doing?
Mr. Morato's going to be so thrilled.
Oh, the part where they go to when they're arresting all the kids, or like
yes,
oh my God,
montage.
and they just walk out into the. Oh my God, that was so good. Oh. Yeah, there's just so much about this movie that I'm like, this is a good fucking movie. Like, it's just like. It's so well thought out. It's so well done. It's like just like it's dark comedy, obviously. Like there's just enough like satirical sort of like stuff happening so that it's not totally serious. It's extremely stylized, but not in the sense of period pieces. Like, it's not a period piece. It's a it's heavily stylized so that you get, like, an otherworldly sense to it, so it feels almost unreal. And
out of time.
Yes.
A little bit.
So it feels, like, very fiction-y. It's based on a true story of this actually happening. I mean, you know, obviously, particulars are different.
But it's got that thing that it's a step removed from a step removed.
Right.
So you can have that.
Yeah. But it's so almost hypnotizing to watch. You're just like,
interesting choice of words, because in the trivia, it talked about as part of her preparation, NIcole Kidman spent 3 days in bed watching reality television.
Oh yeah, and she
found it hypnotizing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, it's a lot of commentary about the want for fame at any cost.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the devaluation of that in the current era because of things like reality television, which mid-90s is really when it's starting to, just starting to ramp up, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, this is the height of like Jerry Springer.
Right.
But not yet where we're having every network has to have their own reality. Yeah. And in response to you saying it's highly stylized, it is, but it's not. I feel like it's in a way that's like you don't forget you're watching a movie, right?
Oh yeah.
In that it doesn't aim for like a realistic feel. There's lots of filmic, for lack of a better word, techniques used.
Yeah.
Like you're aware because you're aware of the medium, through editing and like the shit at the end where the image multiplies, and when the scene where first we have a scene where it's Wayne Knight, like she's working late at the station and Wayne Knight is leaving and she's like, and he says something about like, I feel sorry for anybody that says no to you.
Yeah.
And she says, no one ever does.
Yeah.
And then she goes home and Matt Dillon says no to her. And then there's a scene where he's talking and the camera.
Yes.
It's like it's representing tunnel vision where it just, the screen blackens until there's this tiny little.
Yep.
Everything is black except for Matt Dillon's head, basically.
Yeah.
So shit like that. Right. You're aware it's a movie. You're not just. It's not like. It's not a reality.
Yeah.
Show like, but then there's all these elements like. The footage she takes of the kids, which apparently NIcole Kidman actually. It was just anytime you see her with the camera filming the kids, that's the footage that you see.
Yeah,
later.
yeah.
She's actually took the footage. My point was just it's not hyper stylized in the way. It's not a Tim Burton film where the colors, the palette's just saturated.
Yeah.
And that's it.
The color is intentional in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I noticed things like also Jimmy's character, couldn't remember his name, only calls her Mrs. Moretto. Except for when he's about to shoot her husband.
Yeah.
And then
interesting.
He says, "You know my wife?"
Yeah.
Because he says, "Suzanne said that?" or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, shit. It's really...
I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Also, I really like the scene in the living room where it looks like she's standing in front of a
green screen.
Yeah. Not a green screen. It looks like she's standing in front of a projected.
Oh, like a rear projected.
Yeah. And it goes like the lighting changes from
day to night.
From day to night, but like her lighting doesn't change.
Right.
Ugh, that shit. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's a great example.
I also. Oh god. I just
real quick,
sorry.
if I can, because it's on my previous point.
Oh.
Just that, like, it's clearly commenting on things, but it doesn't feel. I mean, in one sense, I feel like it is kind of heavy-handed in the way it ends.
Sure.
In the message about that stuff. But at the same time, I don't feel beat over the head throughout the film.
Yeah.
With how it's portrayed. Like, you talked about... Yeah, it's just a little bit... It's not... The acting isn't...
Correct.
Campy.
Correct.
In fact, NIcole Kidman's performance is the only one you could consider to be like...
Even remotely campy. Yeah.
I mean, maybe Buck Henry, but like...
Yeah.
Everybody else is like... But it fits. It's not like...
Yes.
It's not... It doesn't feel like they're butting heads.
Correct.
As far as, or in different worlds.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I was just gonna say this after they kill Matt Dillon's character and they like are arresting them or whatever, they say that like they're talking about like how like bad of a job they did at like these kids did at like hiding their trail.
Yeah.
They said Casey Affleck's character they were like, he left a trail of clamshells.
Yeah.
I fucking
You lost
died. It. Just hilarious to me. Just two reasons. One, just like thinking of him just like shedding clamshells as he like went on
Through the world.
Yes, like so funny to me. And then like that term, trail of clamshells, sounds like something that you would look up on fucking Urban Dictionary, and it'd be like it's when you're having an orgy with 7 women and each one of them sits on your face.
And you will know
succession.
And you will know me by the trail of Another thing I noticed. Jimmy talks about after the first time they have sex or whatever, presumably. Mm-hmm. He talks about like, it's like in those movies where he's describing a zombie movie.
Yeah.
Right? Like.
Uh-huh.
Okay, you know those great movies where everyone's coming out of their graves with like half their faces missing and their eyes hanging out and their lips falling off. And they're all looking for the same thing. For regular life people to eat their flesh and drink their blood and all.
Come on, Jay, smile, smile.
And they can't help themselves. Because they're dead, and it's just what happens. That's what I felt like.
Walking around in the world just
Yeah.
being kind of dazed and
Looking.
only want one thing.
Oh, yeah.
Needing brains or people's blood or whatever. And then later Lydia says,
I guess this is the most exciting time of my life. It was like living in a really great movie, except it's kind of X-rated on account of all the sex stuff,
I just want to say Dan Hedaya is in this, and which we mentioned. And I wrote down that he has like 5 lines. Uh-huh. He like says so few things in this movie. Yeah. But he does so good. Like he's
great.
I mean it's Dan Hedaya, so. But he really, like, I was like, man, he's hardly said anything.
Yeah.
And yet, like, he is very memorable in this movie.
We didn't talk about how, you mentioned how she is killed. Mm-hmm. What I like is, another thing, structurally, is that when her dad, played by Kurtwood Smith, is saying, I'm sorry, I thought you made a bit, because you're Italian, I just assumed you might be, he didn't say it.
Right.
I'm reading between the lines. Because you're Italian-American, I thought you might have connections to the mafia. Mm-hmm. There's a real quick cut to an image of a shed in a snowy landscape, and you hear a woman scream for a split second, and then it goes back to the rest of the movie.
Oh, I didn't hear a woman scream.
And then we see at the end, that's where she's killed.
Yeah.
And you see, after it's done, Dan Hedaya gets a phone call, and the person is speaking Italian to him.
Yeah. And it's the person who killed her speaking, and he says it. Dan Hedaya says nothing back. He hangs up the phone and he just looks at his wife, and it's like they both know what happened.
It's a great shot.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. Also, I like that she takes the dog with her when she gets killed. The killer. And when the killer calls Dan Hedaya, the dog is barking in his car. I really liked that. I was like, oh.
Did you see the
puppy?
No reason for the palm to die.
I know.
Did you see that the real life dog that it's based on, the guy from the True Facts, what's her name?
Pamela Smart.
Yeah, her husband gave her a Shih Tzu named Halen after Van Halen.
Oh, wow. I just can't imagine. I mean, I don't know. I also don't want to get married, and I also don't feel any pressure to be heteronormative, But I can't imagine.
Too bad you're living together with your partner.
too bad I'm married. I just don't imagine. I just can't imagine like not wanting to be with someone and being like, well, I guess they have to die.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I understand feeling like in a situation, I understand feeling like I feel like the only way that I could get out of this is if they drop dead suddenly.
Mm-hmm.
And then being like, actually, I could just probably end things. You know, like you have like that idea of like where you don't realize you don't want to be in the relationship, and you're like, they probably, the only way I would ever see someone else is if my partner died. But then you're like, that might be nice.
That's the thing that's a little confusing to me about her character arc is she's portrayed as both very manipulative and conniving, calculated more than conniving is what I mean. But then also naive at times. So, like, I felt like I couldn't tell if the movie wanted me to think she got married only as a stepping stone to something else.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of portrayed that way, but then it's also, you kind of see her having a disillusionment about the relationship, as well as, like, you know, the scene with George Segal.
Right.
Where she's naively doesn't get what he's very clearly saying.
Right.
You know, for us, the audience, is very clear what he's implying.
And here comes the best part.
Yes.
This is the best part.
About 10 years ago, I'm at some TV conference somewhere, and I run into that station manager, and I congratulate him on his letter-writing skills. And he doesn't know what I'm talking about.
Why doesn't he?
Because, sweetheart, he didn't write the letter.
Oh, who did?
She did. She wrote it herself.
Oh, I see.
It's good, isn't it?
I love it.
You see that she took his advice literally and is planning on using sex to advance her career or attempt to.
Yeah, but doesn't.
But then doesn't. She keeps the part where she's just super ambitious and pushy, quote unquote. You know, like, I don't know, you know, not to gender it, because if we're a man,
right,
it would just be ambition, right?
I took it. I mean, like, I totally see what you're saying, and I don't disagree with it, but I took it more to mean that she was unaware that, I think it's like it was clear that she was looking out, like she was looking in from the outside before she had that conversation with George Segal. Meaning that she was like, okay, well, all of the people that I'm trying to be like are married and have a career, like, and so she was trying to fit in to a very specific demographic. And then she talked to George Segal, and he's basically like, yeah, you have to, like, fuck your way to the top if you're a woman. And I think she didn't think, you know, because she wasn't someone that was, like, working her way up. She hadn't even gotten started yet. She was trying to get started to work her way up.
Yeah.
So she was still naive about, like, the things that she'd be asked to do, or the expectations that would be put on her. She had a very naive outlook on how she is conniving, and she is, you know, manipulative, obviously, because she literally went on a honeymoon.
Yeah.
She went on a honeymoon to go to a news conference or something and, like, sent her husband away on a boat so that she could just do whatever the fuck she wanted. You know, she wasn't necessarily in it for love. I think she was in it for the status that it brought. And also, like, his family were, like, because they mention multiple times that they're, like, the people who, like, they have, like, a monopoly over, like, restaurants in town, and they're the...
Oh, do they?
Something like that. Huh. Like, when Buck Henry is smacking Casey Affleck, he's like, you know who she's married to, right?
Right.
And he's like, her husband is, like, part of the family that, like, owns... you know, restaurants, and they have, like, they're really, like, well-to-do. So I assumed
I thought that was mostly because he was, like...
Yeah, but it means that he has status. Like, if people know who he is, he has status, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
And wherever that status comes from, who cares? But he has it. He has a name. And that's what she married.
Right.
To a degree. You know, she married something to get more status than what she had. Or so she thought. And then she's being asked, basically, to give all of her dreams, to give them up so that she can just have a couple kids. And I think it's interesting because she is using sex to get something.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, she's sleeping with a kid. Mm-hmm. And it's not that I don't necessarily think she wouldn't have thought to do that ahead of time. But I think it's like an interesting thing that, like, it shows that she's willing to use sex to advance her career, but she doesn't have an opportunity to do that.
Uh-huh.
And instead she uses it to, like, end her husband's life.
Right.
But, like, she didn't think of it as, like, a career opportunity, or, like, you know, not that it actually is. She didn't think of it that way because she was thinking that she needed to be a specific type of person because she wasn't actually in that world. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's making sense. I don't know. It was just an interesting...
No, I thought about that too. Like, it feels like we're meant to see it as her sort of either misinterpreting or misplacing where to leverage her power.
Right.
Sort of.
Right.
Something
And she does... I think it's interesting because she does use so much of her power against Joaquin Phoenix. Mm-hmm. But he doesn't have any power, so it's so, like, uneven. Like, it's so imbalanced. But, like, she's unsure of how to do that in the workplace, but she doesn't necessarily have to because she's very pushy and gets her way anyway.
Yeah, right.
So it's, like, an interesting thing of, like, she's basically, like, just doing the easiest... Like, she's using that at the time when it's easiest, not necessarily when it's going to be the most beneficial.
Effective.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
It's kind of like Trump being like, why do we have these nukes if we're not going to use them? That's what it feels like to me.
Oh, God.
Not to bring us down.
Yeah, well, didn't work. Would you recommend?
Oh, yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this film.
Yeah.
It was I'm glad you recommended it.
Yeah. I would say watch it for sure. Like, it's not really a murder mystery at all. Like, it gives away immediately that the husband gets killed. Like, it's open. Like, the opening sequence is literally basically telling you the whole film. So
it's not a whodunit. It's a how catch 'em.
Yeah. But also, I just spent that whole time being like, boo, boo, yeah. It's something that feels like I think the only thing that's kind of spoiled is that she dies in the end.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Which Pam, what's her name, actually just went to jail.
Yeah, Pamela Smart, yeah. Yeah.
So spoiler there.
Yeah. But fun fact, in the novel book, the character of Suzanne Stone says in the movie version of her life story or whatever, she wants the actress who married Tom Cruise to play her, which at the time was NIcole Kidman. So,
which I had forgotten.
Really?
that they got married. Yeah.
One of my favorite
I think it's
images.
why I dismissed her for a long time.
Oh yeah, no, that's understandable. One of my favorite images are the pictures of Nicole Kidman leaving her like divorce lawyer, like when she like leaving her lawyer's office after she's like officially divorced from Tom Cruise. I mean, it's beautiful.
Like, fucking beaming.
Like literally, like hands in the air, like, like literally paparazzi. Or she's like, like so fucking thrilled. And I was like, yeah, basically, she's just like kicking like fucking small animals. Like she's just so stoked. She doesn't give a shit. It's so beautiful. Like it's very, very, very apparent.
How many fucking times has he been married now? Like 4, 5?
No, I don't know.
Mimi
Rogers, Nicole Kidman, Katie Holmes. And I think that's it.
Isn't it? Who's he with now?
I don't know. Probably some 22-year-old.
Yeah.
Because he's disgusting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know who she might be. I just think it's so gross. Like, the older I get, like, when I was, like, 30, and I was, like, I hooked up with someone in their low 20s, I felt like a pervert. I was like, they are so much younger than me. I feel not great about this because it felt like very unbalanced. And like, yeah, the older I get, I don't understand the desire to sleep with. I don't understand the desire to sleep with young people. I mean, like, it's on theme for this movie because she's sleeping with like a 50. I just can't imagine like, I mean, in real life, Pamela Smart was 22.
Oh, okay.
At the time. And I think that's what they're implying is that she, like, I think obviously Nicole Kidman was older than 22.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's part of her naive, nature is that they're implying that she's very young and inexperienced. And I think they try to make her look younger. And I think it's trying to span, like, a little bit of time, like a couple years.
Well, remember they've only been married a year.
Right, but they, it, like, shows them meeting for the first time.
Yeah.
And then, like, getting married, and then they've been together a year. So I think it's meant to. But, yeah, I still, like, at 22, I would not want to sleep with a...
No.
15-year-old. I would never.
I was gonna say I appreciate about this movie is that the kids are treated. They're represented as kids. You know what I mean? And treated respectfully, I guess.
Sort of. Yeah.
And they're performing. All the actors do a great job. Mm-hmm. Acting like
God,
teens.
but the line. I just have to say the line with Casey Affleck talking about skinny women want sex all the time.
The skinny bitches, they can't get enough of it, I mean, they're always wanting it. That's a medical fact.
Yeah.
Because the nerves in their body are all bunched up in their snatch, you know what I mean? They're all right up in there, so they're all wet.
I don't think that's true.
What are you, a doctor?
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Which is, like, exactly how, like, 15-year-old kids...
Absolutely.
I once had, like, a 14-year-old kid tell me that jerking off with soap in the shower gave you cancer of the dick. And I was like, I don't think that's true. And he was like, it does because the soap gets in there and it gives you cancer. And I'm like, what? And he was like, yeah, that's why you should never jerk off with soap in the shower. I'm like, why are you telling me this? As I was like 20, I was like, why are you telling me this? Also, where did you learn this? He's like, school. And I was like, not from a teacher. No.
Who's telling you not to wash your dick? Also.
No, he's saying jerk off with.
I know.
But also, like, don't use soap as lubricant. I mean, that's going to give you pepper spray of the dick. Like, I don't, like...
Yeah, I've had discussions with other penis havers about this, and some people can do it and not suffer like I do.
Yikes.
Sometimes that happens to me even if I'm not close to... Anyway.
Soap?
I just said, like, Lydia responds to that nonsense.
Yeah, she's like,
I don't think that's true. What are you, a doctor? don't know. Are you?
But I like
also accurate.
But I like when they have those things because it's so accurate. The kids like, and like young teenagers have like a total misunderstanding of a lot of things, but are very convinced that they're correct.
Yeah, right.
And it's a whole combination.
It reminded me because I was just editing the episode for the opposite of sex, and like similar to you brought this up in the episode, but like all this stuff.
Yeah.
Christina Ricci's character says about gays and AIDS and
all the things that
she said all wrong.
She's like very, very like, yeah, I know, it's fine. It's like, yeah, you're 16. You're 16. That's correct. But yeah. Anyway.
I have this trouble with Gus Van Sant where I'm sure I know what his oeuvre is.
Yeah.
What movies he's done and that I've seen a few of them and then I never remember. And it's still going on. Like over the last couple of days I've been looking at his filmography and I'm like, oh, and he did that and he did that. Even though I've looked at it multiple times, I'm like, oh, he did that. And
yeah.
I've never seen Good Will Hunting.
Me neither.
Probably never will.
Same.
I have seen Drugstore Cowboy. That could be one for the pod.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, I wonder what I would think of that now. I have seen, more recently, I've seen My Own Private Idaho.
I would watch that for the pod. I haven't seen that in a long time.
I watched that like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Last Days, the Kurt Cobain one.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm interested. He did one called Elephant.
Never heard of it.
Which I don't know about. He did that shot-for-shot remake of Psycho from the late 90s.
Seen that.
Milk.
Never seen it.
Yeah. I forget that he's done things that were like this one, relatively big and got attention.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'm a fan.
Cool. I mean, this movie's definitely good.
Yeah.
I've not seen enough. I don't think I've seen most of anything he's done to be able to say whether or not I'm a Gus fan Sant or not. But
he did that track with William Burroughs that I put on an early mix for you. Millions of images.
Oh.
He played the music.
Oh, really? Yeah. Gus Van Sant?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I had no idea. I didn't know.
He's also from Portland. Strike Against.
I was going to say, well, we don't have to hold that
against. He's gay.
Oh, really?
Thumbs up. Yeah.
Ugh, that makes so much sense.
He went to RISD, which...
Putting on the RISD. I'm sorry.
So this has been...
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun.
The Gus Van Sant pod, brought to you by Taco, who did that cover of Putting on the Ritz. I guess that has to be the outro music now.
I was going to say, I hope you... Dun, 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 dun. You know how it goes. Putting on the Ritz.